Go ahead and rev it a little bit. This is coming in, this has 40 PSI already built in it.
Okay.
So as it comes out this way, you can see it's coming out, but you can see there's enough of a liquid form
Yep.
that a diesel would just assume it's overfueling, right?
Yes.
So then we change that out to this version.
Oh, it's like much.
It's consistent.
Yeah.
It's atomized. It's vaporizing really well.
Yeah, it's way more consistent, and obviously not as just liquid going into it.
Right.
So you play with that while the engine's running, and like just try to figure out where the
idle air control is gonna. Where's the sweet spot where it's gonna not gonna lug down on me.
That seems crazy simple but effective.
Exactly.
Like,
now you know my motto.
That's awesome. Would you say this one, which is 110,000 miles, and you saw the picture of the borescope,
Yep.
This one to me would probably be a little bit more than a can, maybe?
Potentially, yeah, I would think so.
Do you stagger when you do them? Like, okay, so if you have one that has a ton of buildup,
Right.
maybe you don't want all of that to break apart super quickly, run it for a couple thousand miles and then go again, or?
500.
Okay.
You may say, okay, come back next week and I'll do the second one, or you may say, let me run it. Let me run it here for an hour.
You just want a little bit of time on it.
A little bit of time. I want to get it burnt through.
Okay.
The ideal is to get it as close to the throttle body assembly as possible, right?
Right, I would assume you don't want to go
Right.
through the
Every
turbo and then
bend-
back through the
right.
intercooler. And
Yeah, because every time it goes through a bend, it runs the risk of becoming less atomized, more liquefied. It's designed to where it's going to fit in the boot.
And do you put this in and then clamp that back down? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we can do it there then.
All right. And so basically, we're just going to start off just letting the system accept it. So once you're done with it, go out and drive it and just kind of get did you or did you not hear what it sounded like beforehand?
I might get Jake to go. Jake's the owner of the car. I'll probably get him to go.
Okay.
So what was it doing before? You said it wasn't feeling silky?
No, it was like, I mean, it was mainly around like my shifts and stuff, but it was just like maybe a little hesitation.
Okay.
And I'm not feeling that now, which is nice.
So you do think it actually feels a little better?
I would say so.
Okay. Awesome.
I mean, I would say it's marginal. I don't think it's like a night and day difference, but.
No, and I don't think this is necessarily you're gonna make your car that runs like absolute garbage all of a sudden be magic, but it's gonna help, especially if you start doing it preventatively.
Right.
Help those scenarios.
For sure.
No smoke.
No smoke.
He's just never going to want to get rid of this thing now.
That's right, that's right. He almost did recently, then he bailed out.
Oh. So there's two things that we did with this that makes it really important. Number one, it's designed that it comes out of the can cold. So when it comes out of the cold, obviously it hits an intake like that, it's going to immediately vaporize. Number two, it's also designed with GDI in mind. It's under pressure. So this can is running out at 40 PSI right out the can. So you talk about, a typical pressurized shop tool, air assisted shop tool, you would see that eliminates the need from it. This is more or less like a consumable type service.
All right, Pat, fire your car up.
Now she's puffing out there a little bit.
30 seconds off.
We're about empty on the can.
So a few days have passed since we did the intake clean on both of these cars, and just went ahead and looked inside of the engine to get a scope of the valves on Jake's car. We did a before and after on the borescope. and it certainly did improve. Before it was just full dark, couldn't even tell what I was looking at barely to get in there, and now you can see that the intake port is shiny at the bottom. Still some gunk in there, but really for a 110,000 mile car, I wasn't expecting perfection. I wasn't expecting to get all of it. It's not a walnut blasting replacement, but it is a maintenance thing that can help clean things up, rejuvenate. You know, for a 110,000 mile car, pretty impressed. How many miles are on your X5?
We're sitting at about 135,000.
Okay, pretty good and untouched, do you think?
Fairly so. There's been some maintenance, but nothing that cleaned all the carbon out of the intake on these things.
All right, so we got this thing cleaned up a little bit. Jake's reported a little bit better fuel mileage. Any change with what you got going on?
I'm seeing 1 to 2 miles per gallon better. Did a 1,000-mile road trip immediately after doing the cleaning and immediately noticed an increase, so I was pretty happy.
Awesome, that's amazing. 1 to 2 miles per gallon improvement in fuel economy. Tough to beat for a little DIY can of cleaner to throw in your intake. You know, and like we said, these are higher mileage vehicles. You know, something like my wife's X3 where we did that, that's a 35,000 mile car right now. And if I continue to do that periodically, that's, you know, gonna help keep the system clean, not develop all the buildup that happens on these valves, and keep it running smooth and keep that constant decent fuel mileage. So overall, been super impressed with this intake cleaner. If you would like to get your hands on some to clean your intake system, check it out at BimmerWorld.com. And if you want to see more content like this, like, subscribe, comment below.
You ready to go? Should be an awesome race weekend. We are ready to kill it this year. It's good. It's good. It's going to be a wild ride.